Coming up, the Princess Margaret Hospital managing a patient with a suspect illness. And a store owner gunned down shortly after opening for business this morning. So don't you move. The Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition, starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Easter Sunday to all of you. I'm LaDawn Davis. Thanks so much for tuning in. Topping the news tonight, health officials clearing the air over fears of an Ebola scare at the Princess Margaret Hospital. In fact, they say there is no confirmed case of an Ebola infection at PMH at this time. Now, according to the Public Hospital Authority, they are investigating a case of a patient with a suspect illness. An intense investigation is underway to determine what the illness is. But senior health officials confirmed that the patient has not presented in a manner which indicates Ebola to be the likely diagnosis. The release indicated that doctors are managing the care of a 51-year-old female patient who traveled to Johannesburg, South Africa 2 weeks ago and returned to the Bahamas on March 15, 2016, where she presented herself at the accident and emergency section of the hospital. PHA officials say, as with any potential infectious disease case, the hospital is taking the necessary precautions and abiding by the highest protocols requisite for such cases. Within international guidelines, the patient is being nursed in isolation. The Public Hospital Authority further noted that according to the last Ebola alert issued on the 10th of August 2015 by the World Health Organization, Sierra Leone and Guinea remain the only countries with ongoing intense transmission. The hospital says it will provide updates as test results are received. High support for the government in efforts to implement a national health insurance plan. Consultants from KPMG are pleased with the initiatives taken. In fact, the chairman and partner of KPMG's global health practice, Dr. Mark Britnell, says the government must be commended for its early start and the progress made towards universal health care in the Bahamas, which in most countries takes 20 years to be fully implemented. Speaking to the millions of dollars allocated for the primary health care phase, the consultant says the allocation is quite appropriate.
The government has set aside approximately $100 million for the first phase of national health insurance and universal health care, and that $100 million will be used to support and strengthen primary care. We have concluded that this amount of money is correct. It is a prudent and sensible number, and it provides sufficient resources for a universal health care to be rolled out and develop primary care in the first phase.
As it stands now, the government is pushing ahead with plans to locate a third party to run the new public health insurer for the National Health Plan. A tender process is underway following a recommendation from consultants at KPMG. This has resulted in a delay in the primary care services phase of NHI, which was scheduled for an April launch date. The group has also recommended a new form of governance for NHI, which will change the dialogue process.
That instead of having the old-fashioned notions of engagement, which implies a degree of passivity, if you like, the government serves its ideas and stakeholders volley back their ideas. That passive form of consultation and communication, we hope, will be brought to an end. And the reason why we believe this is because we want active participation. Universal healthcare is one of the greatest gifts a country can give itself in terms of nation building, and therefore all stakeholders need to feel that they are listened to and indeed that they're engaged, but they're actively participating in the solution.
A new 4-member program board will be formed in a few weeks. That team will be invited to sit formally in a new governing structure to help develop national health insurance and universal health care in this country. The group will include the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation, medical personnel, trade unions, and the religious community. Permanent Secretary Peter DeVoe Isaacs, who is spearheading the NHI process, will serve as chairman of the 4-member board. While many across the world and in the country were celebrating the risen Savior, police were busy putting pieces together in the latest murder. The victim, a business owner, was shot after opening a store on Kemp Road early this morning. Jiminy DeSwain has the details and tells us there was also another shooting police found themselves investigating.
Crime scene tape and a heavy police presence filled the area at Kemp and Wolf Road Sunday morning, where police were called to probe the country's latest murder. Police say the victim had gunshot wounds to the body. Curious onlookers also gathered as detectives launched their investigation. Assistant Commissioner of Police Stephen Dean was on scene and explained that the body was discovered just after 6 a.m.
A man was found dead with gunshot wounds to the body at a shop here on Kemp Road. We do not have a motive at the moment. We don't have no suspects in mind at the moment, but detectives from the CDU, assisted by the officers from the Northeastern Division, are on the scene. They are actively investigating this matter.
The victim was eventually removed by undertakers. ACP Dean appealed to anyone with information on the killing to contact police so that justice could be served in the case. However, that would not be the only scene police found themselves on. They were diverted to Minnie Street, where a man and woman were shot.
Shortly after 8, they were at their residence when they were shot by a lone gunman, according to preliminary reports. They were transported to the hospital where their condition at the moment is considered to be stable. Police are actively investigating this matter. We are appealing to members of the public, anyone, neighbors, friends who might have been in this area, who might have some information as to why the shooting might have occurred or the motive of the shooting. We are asking you to please contact police immediately. We need to put these persons behind bars.
2 ambulances took the injured away. The Assistant Commissioner is warning criminals to be aware and advise persons with information on firearms to alert police.
We will bring you to justice. We will find out just who you are. Person possessing firearms, we will continue to do so with our aggressive approach of our policing plan that we continue to canvass the streets. We are asking anyone who might have information on firearms, drugs, or anyone committing crime to please contact police immediately.
Jiminy DeSwain, ZNS Network News.
The government making strides to strengthen the manpower and meet various demands of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. You may not have noticed, but all 1,500 police officers are now outfitted with bulletproof vests at a cost of $1.2 million. Aside from those investments, National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage said additional vehicles will be purchased and more manpower will be added to the force.
Vehicles for the Royal Bahamas Police Force, Jeeps, especially for the family islands, motorcycles, buses, and patrol cars, Mr. Speaker, at a cost of some $6.4 million. During this and upcoming fiscal period, 5 squads totaling approximately 165 police officers will be recruited. 3 squads in New Providence and 2 in Grand Bahama.
Turning his attention to the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, the Minister of National Security said numbers at the country's military base will increase as well. Currently, there are 1,413 officers on the Defense Force.
80 recruits are currently undergoing training at Coral Harbor in preparation for entrance into the force as Marines. Furthermore, the second half of this budget, during this current 6 months, has provisions for the engagement of an additional 80 recruits as the government endeavors to increase the Royal Bahamas Defense Force's complement of personnel to meet the demands of a modern Bahamas.
In other crime news, another Department of Corrections officer was arrested along with his wife around 10 p.m. on Friday. Drug Enforcement Unit officers executed a search warrant on the couple's Colony Village home where they found a quantity of marijuana. As a result, the pair was arrested and are expected to appear in court early this week, where they will be formally charged. Earlier this month, a 45-year-old prison officer of Stapleton Gardens was arraigned on drug charges. A 40-year-old officer who was reportedly caught with drugs at the Bahamas Department of Corrections was also arraigned in court this month.
If you know of a crime, please call Crime Stoppers at 328-8477, toll free 242-300-8477. You can also check them out on www.crimestoppersbahamas.com. Let's stop the crime before it's your time.